Okay, another episode of the SEO Weekly. We are going to be updating the things that happened in the last couple of weeks for the search engine optimization world and search marketing. First up is the Panda rollout that's been it's been continuing since, I guess you could say, August. But in reality, a lot of people have said that it rolled in, it rolled out. We had a discussion on it from the last time. There is another discussion that's been going on where we've seen it only affecting the home page and not the internal pages. So there are a lot of the discussions in webmaster forums have indicated that maybe it's a partial rollout from a quality perspective on just the home page, and then it's going to roll through the rest of the website. This is yet to be determined, but that seems to be one of the pieces. There were two updates in September. The first update that made some remarkable, at least events, was on the 23rd. We saw some significant changes in all of our customers' rankings. Some up, some down, but there was mostly, it seemed to just kind of go back to the whole link issue with, I think they may be testing out something to do with Penguin to see how much collateral damage it might have. It seemed to have rolled in and then rolled out again. It was definitely a link-based algorithm. It did not have to do with the quality algorithm. The quality algorithm seemed to have run on the 2nd or 3rd of September. We saw a slight change in some of the sites that were affected earlier by some of the quality issues that we saw from the Panda earlier rollouts, where there was issues with some factors of on-page correlation. We move through some of the more important things that you should consider doing on your website and looking at SEO in general. There is a movement towards the competitive analysis between looking at two different, let's say, sites for trying to rank a site, going towards the competitive correlation versus the analytics and the analysis from that. The reason why is that there are so many factors now that weigh into the correlation data that can make a site rank versus one or another. Like if you have two sites, a lot of the things that we're finding out are related on usage-based metrics, quality metrics, link metrics. So you've got to like put almost like a myriad of content into a matrix and figure out which possible correlations one site has over another. And along those lines, what we found is that, again, domain authority has a big part of this. But Google is a popularity contest, and there are other factors that are weighing in. And some of those factors that are weighing in are reviews and rich snippets and schema markup. So we're seeing that customers who have done the job, like we've done, to make sure that they get reviews and they have fresh reviews, like fresh reviews coming in every week, they seem to rise to the top of the local map listings. And it also helps their back-end domain authority. So we're finding that that's a piece of the puzzle of the algorithm. So if you've got a review strategy running, or if you have a local business and you don't have a review strategy running, probably the time is now to think about getting that started, because you're not going to really show up on maps very well unless you have some amazing popularity. What it means, the site, your domain itself has amazing popularity versus the rest of your competitors. And when we talk about traffic flow across all competitors, there's not this enormous up and down. I mean, there's a swath of demand, there's a swath of competitors, and whoever ends up having the best review, the best popularity, the best traffic seems to always come up on top. And domain authority is another piece of the puzzle that fits into that equation. Now, we talked about schema markup because if your site is coming up properly, and again, Google's told everyone to do this, so you should be doing it if you're not, is to have your rich snippets of the schema market coming up properly in your results. So that means your website should be pulling up data, again, the schema markup. If you don't know what that is, we can certainly help you with it. But the point is that schema markup is a big component of whether or not Google ranks you in order, because you're doing what they've asked you to do, which is to make the content within your site viewable from a rich snippet levels, from a kind of just a summary review point of the stuff that your site is about. Now, on to Penguin. So Penguin is, again, the link-based algorithm that has decimated a lot of people's sites if they had bad backlink portfolios with bad scanning links or manipulated links to their back end of their website. The question is, will it run in real time? So what happens is that Penguin will hit, it will decimate a bunch of sites, and then you have to wait, put your disavow files in, or remove your bad links, however you want to do it. Don't do the disavow if you can help it. But the point is that once the links are removed, now Penguin runs again, and you're hopefully that you're out of jail or your site's back to normal. A lot of people got hit with this who had done either bad link practices in the backlinking to their site from all this junk that's out there that in the 2012, 2013, 2014, or actually 2013, kind of ended around 2014, worked to help rank a site. But then Google decided that they were going to run this Penguin, which was the ability to now look at backlink profiles and determine whether or not they had been manipulated. So now we're at a point where it comes and then it runs like every 6 months or however when Google decides to run it. But the question is in October, which we're anticipating when the run will happen, will now it run in real time because they have enough data and they want to run it for as soon as you get rid of your bad backlinks, you come back up in the rankings instead of waiting for 6 months. That is the big question because a lot of people are going to be asking, if they are under some sort of algorithmic penalty, why do they have to wait so long because they've removed these bad backlinks? So now maybe that's solved. We'll have to see. Manual penalties are another part of Google's algorithm structure where they actually physically go in and put your site kind of in a, I guess you could say jail, or it puts you into a point where you're not really found at all. You're almost unindexed. But what that really means is that Google's basically said, you've violated the terms and conditions or the terms of service, and they're not going to allow your site to be shown, with any respect to being on any page that's relevant. But now they've gone even a step further and they've said repeated violations. So that means if you do something bad, you fix it, and then you come back in the rankings. If you do it again, there may be sort of like permanent jail where your domain will never come back up. So that's sort of a shot across the bow to the the black hat SEO world, where there's a lot of people that have come back, fixed a site, and then start working the same process again to see if they can get around the rules. I really think this is a sort of indication that Google's going to play a little bit harder ball here on some of the more predominantly scammy environments, such as payday loans and other things where there's a lot of sort of manipulated content, manipulated rankings that have always been out there, and they're trying to clear some of the clutter of that environment. Last thing is that there's definitely been a indication that dwell time on a site, or the time on site, is now a factor within ranking. We've hinted at this being user metrics are the things that we've talked about before, where people are decided they like a site, they don't like a site. Well, if they stay on your site and you've got content and they're only there for 30 seconds, well, it's an indication to Google through the tools that they can use. Obviously, they have Chrome browsers, they have Droid devices. There's lots of ways to tell whether a site's popular or not. If they're seeing that there's low time on site, that's an indication that maybe that site's quality isn't there. And that's been actually articulated in some of the Hangouts with the folks at Google themselves, saying that time on site is becoming a factor because it's just a confirmed metric that someone can say whether or not your site's valuable. Now, that may have collateral damage as well, because there are some sites that where you're just trying to get a phone number, you're just trying to get information real quickly, like a bail bonds or something where you just need a phone number and you don't really need to read anything. But I think the content of what, again, this is from John Mueller himself, who's kind of the head of Google's sort of think tank and does a lot of Hangouts. He's basically saying what we've anticipated, which is that all of the little micro conversions and content and all these things that are running, there is probably something out there in Google's robot world that is automatically sort of timing sites, doing sort of tests on sites to see if there is content there that's worthy, and making sure that there is a level of trapping of analytics to see whether or not time on site and completion of tasks on a site are valid. And that's sort of, again, a part of that quality algorithm that we've talked about before within the Panda structure of what their algorithm is kind of running at a real-time basis now. All right, well, we'll see you in the next episode. Again, Matt Coffy, CustomerBloom, and we'll see you in the next SEO Roundup.